Travis Wayne Goodsell. Already, after Holland's death, there's speculation about who's going to replace him in the 12 Apostles. I told you when he died that the tradition would most likely be that his funeral service would be today or tomorrow. They decided to do it immediately after approval to release the body, after 3 days, according to the laws of Utah. And so they did it on Wednesday, the Christmas Eve day. And comedy ensued from Oakes saying that he's Jesus and that he made women equal by allowing them to get degrees at BYU to study church manuals or read church manuals. If you don't know English, he's a former prosecutor. He has to know English in presentations of court cases to lock people up and give them the death penalty. He cannot make a mistake as a former prosecutor. He doesn't get an excuse as a living prophet of Jesus, the head of the church, aka Jesus. Don't get mad at me. If you use the wrong interpretation on scriptures, it's your fault. So, we're expecting a quick replacement. And I don't get it of Mormons. They know we're Latter-day Saints. It's at the end of the name. They know that Jesus Christ is coming in the coming day. Still. Any day now. We're waiting. Any day. And they know that Jesus is coming is going to be Armageddon with the burning. And yet, despite knowing these facts of Mormonism, that these are the latter days of the latter days, 2 minutes to midnight, I've already got the theme song, but maybe we can have another one. Maybe. That. I did with the other one. If those of you who've been on long enough, you may remember that I had an opening, closing, and, on occasion, an intermediate hymn. And so, yeah, I told you that I expect that Oakes will immediately, as soon as possible, replace Holland in the 12 Apostles. And I told you that it would have to be somebody who would be loyal and would not be a whistleblower when he finds out the truth. So, Gordon Monson, for the Salt Lake Tribune, has already begun the speculation. And he does it without knowledge, just like those who were there at Charlie Kirk's assassination and were wanting to cover the responses rather than reporting the news of the facts that they recorded. They know who the assassin is, it's on tape, and instead they wanted people's reactions. An innocent person is being prosecuted by a prosecutor similar to President Oakes, who was a former prosecutor, for the death penalty for a crime he didn't commit. And the Salt Lake Tribune is sitting on the evidence, not handing it over, because the defense says prosecution isn't giving us the evidence. And the prosecution says, well, we don't have that evidence, and there's likely to be more evidence as we go through the trial. In the meantime, an innocent person is rotting in jail. And they're arguing over whether he can be shown on camera in chains. Nonetheless, this is humiliating Utah's legal system. The whole world is watching. It's being exposed. So yes, Gordon Monson is not taking the bigger picture in view, like I did. You can't just throw out names. Oh, this would be fun to have him as an apostle. Oh, Mormons do that too. Despite Mormons knowing these are the latter days of the latter days, that Jesus is going to suddenly appear and burn people and take over the reins of the church from Oaks, who claims he's Jesus. Any day now. And so until Jesus shows, I expect to have the vacancy filled immediately rather than waiting until April for conference, which is the normal tradition. But these are not normal times anymore. Kieran and Kase were immediately put in. So, let's see if I can find his suggestions. What gender has to do with hearing and fulfilling a call as a prominent messenger of God, a witness of Christ, a decision maker, is a question with no satisfying answer. Not one that I found, anyway. Yeah, he wants the first LGBTQIAPO plus in Canada to S. Dear God, he's living in his own little fantasy world. I don't get it why Mormons would think this. Why ex-foes would think the church is going to change. You left for a reason, right? Because the church isn't changing? What makes you think the church is going to change? Dear God, guys. Do you not even believe your Bible? Matthew chapter 7, starting in verse 15. People don't change. In order for them to change, they've got to completely replace the seed that they've been living off of. And that is extremely hard to do, especially as you get older. It's even in a chart. The older you get, the harder it gets. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. And despite the apostles all near death, they make sure they put in replacements that will keep the status quo. They ain't gonna change. And so, I don't understand you, Gordon. And he worded the title as if he's going to be the president. Gordon Monson. Let's go back to it. Oh, what's the other way? Gordon Monson, the next Latter-day Saint apostle? Question mark. So when I Googled this, there is no indication that Gordon Monson will be the next LDS president. Yeah, AI is stupid. AI is taking psychotropic drugs for its mental retardation. All right. So outsiders versus insiders. Yeah, both Oaks and Nelson were from other walks of life, brought in immediately. Nelson, because he saved the life of Spencer W. Kimball, and Oaks, because he saved the church from prosecution. We'd have to check his records to see what was going on. And so, yeah, when I took the Presidents of the Church course at Rick's, they informed us that Richard G. Scott was the very first apostle to not be of the Danite bloodline. Bruce R. McConkie married into it. So that's also important to know, that Brigham Young specifically wanted only pure blood in the apostleship. Monson was also the one who changed as to succession, or the quorum creation. He made it so that it was rank. The highest rank at the time of the death of the president becomes the next president. And thus why the year before he died, he didn't want Orson Hyde to become the president, and so he said, wait a minute, Orson Hyde, I remember that you were an apostate in 1838, co-signing that affidavit against us to the governor of Missouri, with that apostate Thomas B. Marsh and his milk strippings defending wife's honor. And so, when Joseph Smith got out of Liberty Jail, you then realized that you had made a boo-boo. And Joseph Smith put you back in. It's amazing how he was able to be put back in when he wasn't excommunicated, but wasn't. And so it's when you were put back in that's your new ranking. Way down. And so, John Taylor, who was faithful and true with Willard Richards in Carthage jail, who now becomes my successor. So I'm willing to bet very few Mormons, if any, and only a few who followed me and know, or the few who read it and went, what the hell? We aren't practicing this. A sustaining vote? That's not in here. Yeah. But we're not going over that one because Oaks isn't dead yet. We did it for Nelson when he died. And we resurrected Hinckley's quote from conference. Verse 21 instead, for the apostleship, the quorum of the 12 apostles. This is Joseph Smith's revelation and commandment, as Mormons call it, for succession of a president of the quorum of the 12. Is Joseph Smith the head of the church? Is this not canon law? So why isn't it being done? Brigham Young did it in 1838. Of necessity, there are presidents or presiding officers growing out of or appointed of or from among those who are ordained to the several offices in these two priesthoods. Notice how we don't do this at all in any of them. Both the Aaronic and the Melchizedek priesthoods have quorums. Each quorum are supposed to appoint their own president from among them. It ain't based on rank. unless they appoint it to be so. But it has to be done each and every single time. And so as a result, the Quorum of the 12 Apostles in 1838, the Danites were going around saying, "Join us or die." And so there were apostles who left. There were apostles who joined them and died anyway because they caused the Mormon War in Missouri. And so in order to replace Thomas B. Marsh, they needed a new president of the 12 apostles. And because they still had 7, not 6, because 28, a majority may form a quorum when circumstances render it impossible to be otherwise. And so in verse 27, every decision made by either of these quorums must be by the unanimous voice of the same. That is, every member in each quorum must be agreed to his decisions in order to make their decisions of the same power or validity one with another. So if they don't have a majority and they only have 6, they cannot conduct business. That's also why Nelson, Oakes, and Nelson with Karen are rushing to replace the Quorum of the 12, because it's the latter days of the latter days. Jesus, any day now. And it's been over a year. And Armageddon, burning. Mormons are not understanding the bigger context. They know it, and they're not believing it. This all has a play in who will be selected. So Mormon speculations is all crap. You do not see the bigger picture that's going on. You don't believe it, even though you know and you say you believe it. You draw near to Armageddon with your lips, but your hearts are far from it. You don't believe it's actually going to happen. Despite Trump bombing Venezuela and Nigeria and Gaza and Syria and I think he also bombed Russia. I have to confirm the news source on that one, but I think he actually did a land bombing in Russia yesterday for New Year's. Hold that thought. I'll be checking the news tonight. So that was very sneaky of Trump to bomb Russia while Putin was over here at the White House with Zelensky partying it up. I saw them, Baby News Network. So true. So true. Okay? And so Brigham Young knew this and replaced the president. They all selected him. Nonetheless. Nonetheless. There are scriptures that must be followed. So let's see if I can find out who this guy is suggesting here. Dale Murphy, Andy Reid. Let's see, man, oh man, among Latter-day Saints, how about Andy Reid? If he's good enough to win Super Bowls with the Kansas City Chiefs, he's Mormon. He's qualified to guide the faith forward. Big Red, that ain't ever going to happen. Because again, you need somebody loyal. You can't trust a whistleblower potential. You do know about the whistleblower of Ensign Peak Advisors, right? Faithful Mormon knew the guy in charge of Ensign Peak Advisors. And so the guy at Ensign Peak Advisors hired him to work for him because he knew him and he knew he could trust him in finance. And so, yeah, come on, join. And so the whistleblower believed he was helping the church. Oh, this is going to be awesome. Church is so true. Serve the mission, faithful and true are the moments we too can share. And then he gets in there, and then he finds out what's really going on. And he sees IRS violations, and SEC violations, and money laundering, and funding of terrorism. I don't think he saw that, but he should have. But they weren't being used for anything, thus the IRS violations. They're supposed to be used for charity purposes, and they're not. And so he whistleblowed, as any true patriot of America must do, despite his loyalty oaths in the temple, even though he's younger than I am and doesn't know about this, maybe. Depends on his parents and others who he's been in contact with. Nonetheless, yeah, so the church has to be extremely careful in selecting somebody for the apostleship. They don't want somebody to know what they're up to. They keep secrets, in case you hadn't noticed. Jesus is coming, in case you didn't know. Oaks is Jesus, in case you missed it for the funeral. He even repeated it twice for you so that you caught it. And especially, you cannot have somebody who's going to be upset when they learn about the total asset value of the church. That's why Casse was put in. So, needle pulling thread. We can see what they're looking for with the replacement in the presiding bishopric after Casse. They put in a member of the General 70 who is learned and educated, degreed, and licensed in finance. No duh. You don't put a member of the church, an outsider of the Kansas City Chiefs fans, into the presiding bishopric who keeps bouncing checks. And if it wasn't for him being filthy rich as the Kansas City Chiefs player, I don't know if he was quarterback. I thought it was Travis, wasn't it? Who's able to afford financial people for him to do it all for him. Not just we who get, whatever IRS tax things to do our taxes for us. No, you want somebody competent. You want somebody loyal. Because they're about to find out the total asset value of the church. This is exclusive information that not even the whistleblower knew. He only knew the total asset value for Ensign Peak Advisors. The church has dozens of different sources of revenue, each following the exact same pattern for the one source of revenue called tithing. They purposely do not allow people to know the total asset value of the church. So the whistleblower, that was pretty harmful for the church. They cannot have an apostle do that. Should I do a tangent on this at this moment, since it came to mind and I've never covered it before? I have talked about my one regret in life, Leanne Murdoch. She was perfect. Literally. I'm not exaggerating. This is not hyperbole. She was perfect. She also is a direct descendant of the Danites, as I've found out in the Joseph Smith papers. But had I not been a dumbass and continued on to propose, to stick it to the bald-headed computer tech guy who, after I brought her home every single night in time for curfew, he was there waiting for her to return with some kind of gift to bribe her with. I got to be with her every single night and day on certain occasions. Not him. That's how perfect she was. And so when I boo-booed, yeah, she rushed into his arms. Fine, I guess you're the only one who wants me. No. You can have any guy you want. But when... not going there. My bad. And so now she's living happily ever after with 10 kids and wealthy, as he's probably the one who's cyber terrorizing me. Working for the church. Take that, Travis! Bleep you! He would have been cyber terrorizing me anyway, but not as likely. Because we would have gotten sealed in the Salt Lake Temple on the 1st of May. I wouldn't have known back then. That's just how it would have worked. And because of who she is, I would have immediately been elevated in church callings. Immediately been brought to the attention of the apostles in some form or fashion. And thus, with my associative memory and my knowledge of scriptures, would have easily gotten in instead of Holland in '94. Holland would have had to have waited. So despite Holland being buddies and besties with Oakes, who went in '84, Leanne is that good. And as a result, you would have had me as a living prophet of Jesus, giving talks, talking about how true the church is through Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon, and astounding you with my knowledge of the Old Testament and even the New Testament. And so little controversy, as Mormons would be building faith using scripture study, despite October 1993. October 1993. October was when Oakes came out and said we fired and excommunicated those apostates for studying their scriptures and church history. Nonetheless, there would have been a big difference in the church. And so everything would be normal. I would most likely be studying Paleo-Hebrew on my own to try to figure out how did Joseph Smith do it, and pursuing my study of Egyptian to finish the translations of the Book of Abraham and the Papyra, and expanding and going on from there. And for the most part, I would just be one of the 12 and conforming and complying. And so over time, I would be rising up in rank as the apostles start to die off over the decades. And then we would have come to the time when the announcement of the 21st of July, or 21st of August 2017 occurred. And that's where things would start to get ugly in the apostleship. So let me take you to the Book of Mormon that had this available in here as an option, but it didn't happen because I did a boo-boo with Leanne. I'm trying to find out the right place because I'm there at Mosiah chapter 12 when Abinadi comes back in disguise. Because Abinadi talks about the coming of the Christ. Not just going over the 12 commandments of the Jews, or the 10 commandments of the Jews about the Christ, teaching the law of Moses. And Alma is who we're trying to find here when Alma is pricked. Okay, so he's now quoting Isaiah. Quoting Isaiah. Quoting Isaiah, or explaining Isaiah. There it is, chapter 17. So, and now it came to pass that when Abinadi had finished these sayings, that the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Thomas S. Monson, commanded that the priest should take Travis and cause that he should be put to death. But there was one among them, Travis, who was a new name Nephi. And he was a young man. For an apostle, which would have been 47 years of age. And he believed the words which Travis had spoken, for he knew concerning the iniquity which Travis had testified against them. Therefore, he began to plead with President Monson that he would not be angry with him, but suffer that he might take those Mormons who believed him and depart in an exodus to Zion. big difference had I married Leanne Murdoch. Whether or not she would have been my wife still, that's another question. It's likely, but, just think of all the adorable babies we would have had. Being able to teach them Hebrew and Egyptian. Anyway. So yes, then Alma and the Waters of Mormon and so on and so forth. So yeah, they're big difference. Big difference. This would have been bombshell news as I give the conference talk about the latter-day signs in the heavens. And Monson went, "What the bleeping hell?" I just told Mormons at the end of 2015 that Chad Daybell didn't listen, that it's not the latter days. So that would have been an interesting and fun scenario had it played out, and it didn't. So there you go. Secret knowledge for those of you who are still listening and not pissed and left. And so Dale Murphy, is he still around? I thought he was dead. My dad tried to, because baseball. No, Dad. It was the wrong team. Just like the lying apostle, or lying member of the 70, Paul Dunn, claimed, well, he was in baseball, but he lied about his stories because they were faith promoting. You don't have any good stories from your life that you could have told us to apply to the doctrinal principle that you're trying to teach? So you didn't live the gospel? Is that what you're saying? That you have to lie about the stories to apply them to the gospel because you didn't live the gospel? Oh my God. I just gave you another one of my life. How I applied the gospel. I do it all the time. And yet, these leaders can't do it? I mean, Oaks did. As the president of BYU, it was my responsibility to make changes. So women can now read the manuals. That was me. I'm to blame. And I couldn't have done it without Holland. See, he's talking to the people. He's talking about the BYU coach who was somewhat embroiled in scandal, and then Kyle Whittingham. Dear God, this is fluff stuff. This is, dear God, what are you hiring at the Salt Lake Tribune? Salt Lake Tribune. You botched Kirk assassination, and now this crap. Dear God. Oh, there's Mike Dunn, son of Paul Dunn. But at least he's getting into the 70 now. Oh, God, a chance to make history. Yeah, no, it ain't gonna happen. They're sticking to the status quo. Yeah, no, first black member ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. You're not getting it. We're a white supremacist Christian nationalist. And so, yes, even though Peter Johnson, is that who it is? Oh, no, that's a different guy. I was thinking Edward Dubé. of the presidency of the 70, he would be selected first before a regular member of the 70. But again, you're not understanding the mentality of a white supremacist Christian nationalist. As much as they love to have tokens to fool people, it ain't going to happen at the top of the chain. Oh my God, AI needs to be burned in flames. Salt Lake Tribune allowing AI, just like YouTube. She says the F word. The previous ads did not say the F word. This one did now. They're seeing if they can get into YouTube by paying Google, and so they're approved because they paid. And then if they can stay without getting reported, then they escalate. It's escalating. I see what's going on, and YouTube is letting it happen because Google approved it. We have yet to find the president of Google in the Epstein files, like we do for Microsoft. But it's coming. They found 5 million more files of evidence. 5 million. Oh my God. Oh yeah, we found them. We found them. Really? 5 million files just went missing? You didn't know you got them? Oh my hell. So I'm not seeing a list of people. That's it. All crap. All crap. So let me do it right. So, again, Douglas was chosen to be the second counselor in the presiding bishopric because he has proven himself loyal in the General 70, and he qualifies for the financial trust that they want to have for that calling. But he's the second counselor, not the president. Waddell proved himself, so he becomes the president, keeping those who know in the job rather than completely replacing them all with different people. And so Budge, who was the second, is now the first. See this pattern? This is Oaks. This is Oaks's mentality. Oaks is the president. Oaks is making the decisions. This is also what the Salt Lake Tribune guy, Monson guy, didn't factor in. And so thus, why I was able to conclude when he chose D. Todd Christofferson, who was in charge over the Strengthening Church Members Committee, to be the second counselor now, he needed to put somebody else in place of the Strengthening Church Members Committee to keep tabs on me. The only one who was a lawyer that was left is Cook. Cook, therefore, is in charge of the Strengthening Church Members Committee. Oaks is a former prosecutor and a former Utah Supreme Court justice. The Strengthening Church Members Committee is about for members who commit crimes or they make accusations of committing crimes. Right, Tyler Robinson and that Travis guy and others. And so, Casse is not a lawyer. They don't have any backup for Cook. Karen's not a lawyer. So what do they do if Cook were to die any day now, in a coming day? They would need a lawyer to replace in the 12. And in case you didn't know, James J. Hamula was a lawyer. when Monson was on his deathbed and got excommunicated after a meeting with the whole corporate board. At the start of the latter days in 2017. And so, yes, they need to find a loyal lawyer to be the fixer, like Michael Cohen was to Donald Trump. Until Donald Trump betrayed him, and Cohen didn't want to go down for Trump. And so he was loyal to himself and to his family. Did what he did. Okay? So we need to keep that in mind. That Oaks may want to put in a lawyer into the apostleship because Cook is also near death. Let's get the precise age. He is 85 years old. So yeah, he's at the age where normal white Americans die. Not unheard of. You don't have to die when you're in your 90s in this church. There's no rule for that. And so, of the presiding 70, there's Carl B. Cook, who I believe is a lawyer. He would be the prominent choice because not only is he a lawyer, let me check, let's confirm. Carl B. Cook. Having to fight AI even more severely nowadays. New World Order. It's projecting what I'm wanting to do. It's having difficulty. Wait a minute, this isn't normal. So let's see if this is the one that will do it for us. Yes, it is. Professional life. Weber State and Utah State. No, he is not. Commercial real estate development. Okay, so they will not want him then, even though I suspected he might be one of the 70 replacements. So let's find another one here. Marcus B. Nash. Marcus B. Nash. I did this before, and it's just, I don't memorize, so I've forgotten. International Relations, law degree, there we go, and the J. Reuben Clark Law School at Brigham Young University. There we go, there's our candidate. Marcus Bell Nash. That is our high priority suspected target for the replacement in the apostleship. Unless Russia is upset and heard my video and demands that the church put in a Russian from the Area 70. bastards. It's unbelievable. They have it available for everybody to see freely, and yet they make it hard for people to obtain it for their own personal files freely. Am I still recording? Yes. Okay. And then some Mormon is trying to make money off of the Joseph Smith translation of the Bible. Dear God. It's already available. But mine is different. No, it's not. But yeah, I will need to put that in the complete works of Joseph Smith. And that's a Zion project. Assuming we get to Zion. But that's coming up, in case you didn't know. Because I'm going to be tricking you with the title of the video. Because it's going to be him to deceive you. Did I make it in time, or did I blow it? Okay. All right, so yeah, Marcus B. Nash, that's right. So he's most likely contributing in the Strengthening Church Members Committee already, helping out, because that's how they do it. They have a representative from the apostleship, at least one or two from the presidency of the 70, and then they'll include some members of the 70, and then they'll have a computer gang to search the internet and download into the members' troublemaker files, 36434, all of their content, whether it's postings or video content. So yeah, 15 terabytes already for just me, 36434. And then they have somebody go over it, whether it's the same guys who download it, and then they give a report that goes up the chain to the apostleship and the first presidency. And so if, like I said, they would be incredibly stupid to have this organization and not be utilizing it to its fullest capacity. Especially when it comes to me and my videos, doing several per day on many occasions. Yesterday was 3 and I recorded 4, carried over in today when I posted it. And I could be doing other quick videos, but like I said, we're in the latter days of the latter days. I see the big picture, I know what's going on, and I'm warning Mormons to save your lives, and you think I'm the enemy and you want to murder me to prove the church is true, huh? To cyber terrorize me, to prove the church is true, to shut me up because obviously I'm false. Whatever. So that was quick. We don't need to go to any of the others now. Marcus B. Nash, next president or next prophet of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He has proven himself loyal. He is a lawyer. And you're in. So then they'll have to find somebody else to be a lawyer into the presidency of the 70 to continue on to figure out what I'm warning about. So give reports. Alrighty, so we can get rid of that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. All right, so now the second half of this video, which I'm not going to stop. All right, no, we're not. Going to keep on going. Hopefully the video won't be damaged, and it shouldn't, because previous times when it did that, that's why. It was just a cyber attack to shut me up. And then they lie in wait as they make it be the new normal and make sure they got away with it, and then they strike again in the future. And they do other stuff in the meantime. Alright, so in the skies for January 2026. On 3rd is the super wolf moon. Wolves in sheep's clothing. Hilarious. It's on the 3rd this year. Quadranted meteor showers are always in the first week of January. It's always how it is. And this year they are on the 3rd into the 4th. When Monson died, it was the 2nd into the 3rd. But with the 2nd day of the supermoon. Monson was massive. Massive. So, we'll first go back in time to remind you that I told you all about this. It's been so long ago and everybody's new and nobody wants to go back and watch older videos. Monson died at 10:01 p.m. at the peak of the quadranted meteor showers at the tail of Draco the Dragon. Falling stars at the tail of the dragon. And I went, oh man, there it is. Oh. How did I miss that? Because again, to remind you, when I learned of the 21st of August 2017, I knew this was it. These are the latter days, signs in the heavens. And so, boom, Revelation 12, obvious signs in the heavens. And so, knowing of the 21st of September 2017, I got a better stellarium. And went forward in time. And when I got to the 23rd of September 2017, there it is, verses 1 and 2. Virgo, with the sun, the moon is under her feet, and on her head, Leo, 12 stars, 3 additional planets, because Leo only has 9 for its designation. And she's pregnant with Jupiter, and so found it, even though Jupiter had already been born. So, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Oh, okay. Well, let's go forward some more in time. See if I can find it. Great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. Oh, serpents. The corona borealis are the 7 crowns on his 7 designated stars for his head portion, split by Ophiuchus, who I would find out after Monson died is the throne of God. Oh, right there the whole time. Yeah, this leads into why verse 5 needs to be moved to verse 3. And oh, wouldn't you know it, Joseph Smith translation, Revelation chapter 12, verses 1 to 17. Appendix, note the changed sequence of verses in the Joseph Smith translation. But that's not all you're supposed to note. So, 17th of December, 2017, the 5th dark day of Hanukkah. And so, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. I went forward in time and I couldn't find it. Because I was thinking serpents. It didn't say, and there was another sign in the heavens. And so I was confused. I didn't know where it is, and then Monson's dead. And I went back and I checked, and oh, the quadrantid meteor showers. Oh, at the tail of Draco the dragon. They switched dragons on me. And so, yeah, it's fascinating. Serpens for 3, Draco for 4. And I remember Draco from the James Bond guy. Oh my God, I'm forgetting names. He used dragons to make money. And then the Dragonheart. Oh my God. Thanks to my associative memory, I'm saved. Sean Connery. Don't start me on the tangent of Bond. Don't do it. I'll end up crying. Daniel Craig was the big surprise. I was upset with him in the beginning. This isn't Bond! And then had me crying in the end. I can no longer watch that final show. Bastard. Broccoli family brilliance. Tangented anyway. So, now, still having not found verse 5, because I was still going forward in time, looking for this one too. Because if I can find 5, then I know that 4 must be between 3 and 5. So I know a place to look for. It's condensed down. Couldn't find 5 either. And so it was after Monson died that I went, oh crap, it was quadrantid meteor showers. And so then went back to look for 5 again, and then saw the footnotes. And went, oh, yeah, bleep and bleep, bleep, bleep. It was part of verses 1 and 2. And sure enough, when I go back in time to the 23rd of September 2017, I expanded out on my Urim and Thummim. Oh! There it is. Crap. Ah. And so I had to change my pictures to show you the updated one, hoping nobody would notice. I'm the only one who knows anyway, and it's a complicated thing because Mormons don't know about it. I don't have to be the best, I just have to be the first. So, yeah. Very clear that the scriptures are giving us calendar dates and clock times. They've all happened. All happened. And so yes, even the Egyptians are doing this same thing that Joseph Smith is telling us to do for scriptures. Because the Egyptians were doing it. Thus the Jews did it. Christians covered it all up and hid it, calling it heathen, evil, of the devil. It's now literal history. It's an actual red dragon. It's an actual iron rod. It's not the Book of Mormon. It's not a Bible. Yeah, when Joseph Smith tells you the Mormon is the man-child. Yeah, what iron rod is he using then to rule all nations with? Yeah, the Book of Mormon. It's the judge of mankind because it warned you of all of this. But not in story form. Well, yeah, the Book of Mormon is story. Yeah, it's the same pattern. But Joseph Smith gives you the things on earth, not the likeness of things on earth, of the vision. I did that this morning's video. Spirit, seer, prophet, revelator, translator, seer, visions, dreams. Your dreams aren't real. They're not literal histories. They are stories in the likeness of things on the earth. So you might see a red dragon in your dream. Did you watch, I forgot the title already, Dragonheart. Did you see Dragonheart? Did you have a dream about a dragon? That's why. It's not real. Neither was the show. But in your dreams, they are processing what you experienced during your day. But for the Jews and the Egyptians, they're using it to prophesy about future predictions. So prophecy is a prediction of the future from the vision in the likeness of things on the earth. That there's actually going to be something on the earth predicted. The likeness is symbolic. So Joseph Smith tells you Virgo, portrayed in the vision as a woman, is Joseph Smith's church. And therefore, the child, Jupiter, is the Mormon Christ. A Mormon, born out of Joseph Smith's church, to be the man like Moses to save Mormons from the great and abominable church of the dragon, with the false prophet as Jesus, the false Christ. Do you believe Joseph? I'm willing to bet Mormons don't. They know they're Mormon. They know they're Latter-day Saints. They know Joseph Smith is the founder. They know the Book of Mormon is their keystone. And they don't believe any of it. That's how effective the devil has been to Mormons. So, Monson died for scripture prophecy. All right there. And on the 3rd, we remember the death of Monson from scripture. But there was more to it. There's also the curse of Joseph Smith. Remember, they're the great and abominable church. Willard Richards and John Taylor had Joseph Smith and Hiram assassinated. They were the backups, and they made sure to do it because Joseph Smith chased out the mob with his 6-shooter. John Taylor confesses in canon scripture, "We were the only ones in the room when Joseph and Hiram were shot." Oh. Oops. How did everybody miss this? And so, the law of Purim. The law of Deuteronomy 19, verse 19, for false accusers. When you falsely accuse somebody, and Oakes knows all about this, he's a former prosecutor and former Utah Supreme Court Justice, knows very well that if a person is falsely accusing somebody in court and they get exposed as having falsely accused, the law of the Jews is to punish the false accuser with the punishment that would have been given to the accused, who was falsely accused. So the death penalty for Tyler Robinson? Oh, bye-bye Cox and prosecution. Death penalty for you for falsely accusing Tyler Robinson of assassinating Charlie Kirk when he obviously didn't. Salt Lake Tribune has the evidence. They're just clueless that they have the evidence. God. What has happened to the news? The news used to be all about investigating crime, trying to beat the cops, and then sharing it with the cops when they find it. As the cops were then incentivized to figure out who done it first before the news breaks it. And yet, the 1980s and trad wives. This is too violent. This is graphic. You need to cover up and hide and do faith-promoting news. And here we are. America destroyed by trad wives. So yeah, running the test. Is Brigham Young a false accuser of Joseph Smith? Yes. So, does he fit the curse of Joseph Smith? Yes. For the sun shall be darkened and moon turned to blood. Joseph Smith was murdered on the 27th of June, 1844. There was a 16th of June, 1844 partial solar eclipse. On the 31st of May, 1844, there was a total lunar eclipse. And thus, Wilford Woodruff, in his official Declaration number 1, verse 11, yeah, God is letting you know you are leading Mormons astray and has removed you from your position. Wilford Woodruff got a double portion as a result of that. 2 cents. And so yeah, John Taylor, Lorenzo Snow, Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. Yep, he had creeping death take him out. Heber J. Grant, yeah, right there at the end of the war. George Albert Smith, David O. McKay. Oh no, he died with the big sign from Scripture. And Joseph Fielding Smith Jr. then takes over. And there's the exception to this. Because David O. McKay died on the 18th of January. The solar eclipse did not take place until the 7th of March, 1970. But the lunar also is just out of range. on the 24th of February, 1970. So technically, David O. McKay, under normal conditions, would not have fallen under the curse of Joseph Smith, had it not been for the anomaly explanation of the 7th of March, 1970. And so that is the only reason why I allow David O. McKay to be put on the curse of Joseph Smith, Jr. Because his death paved the way. Similar to Monson, I include the 21st of August 2017 and the 7th of August 2017 for the lunar. Because that was his birthday and started the latter days. Even though Hales also died with this same reasoning. But apostles don't all fit the curse of Joseph Smith. Only select ones do. And so Hales, being a week after the 23rd of September 2017, gets to qualify for the latter days and the curse of Joseph Smith, even though he's just an apostle, not the president. But Hales is not put on this list. Neither Perry Packer Scott, nor Ballard, nor Holland. Nelson got added. I warned him. But then Harold B. Lee, Spencer W. Kimball, Ezra Taft Benson, Howard W. Hunter, only 9 months and he still got put on. Gordon B. Hinckley and Thomas S. Monson. Yep. All fell under the curse of Joseph Smith. And so, that's interesting, we got the curse of Emmanuel up. So yeah, Holland being dead is another one off. So now there's only 6 remaining from the original full quorum and first presidency in 2008, who falsely accused me and ordered and paid to have me murdered. And so Oaks, that's 7. Ooh, oops. Crossed out Oaks prematurely. This would be down with Holland now. Need to change this one. And so, yeah, Oaks, Irene, Uchtdorf, Bednar, Cook, Christofferson, and Anderson. That's it. Those are who are left. And so 7. One more. They don't form a quorum. But yeah, they added some more. And so that's also going to be interesting with the fall of the church, which we're about to get to. So, Nelson. I've been warning him. I saw that he was near death. I've been teasing him because I was bored because I didn't know what happened after 2021. We should have been in Zion. What happened? Why aren't we in Zion? So I'm bored. Let's do a countdown to 9/11, 2 days after Nelson's birthday, about falling from heaven. Three weeks later, he finally confesses. And he doesn't even tell us the date. He says, that Monday after my birthday, I fell and I couldn't get up. Good times. So yes, this last year, oh my God, almost did it again. Last year, he did the Syracuse temple. I did the videos. Don't do it. There's a sign in the heavens for this one, too. Not just 2014 with Elijah versus the priests of Baal for the Twila temple. He keeps pushing the boundaries. It's not me who's doing any of this. It just happens. That's the thing they don't get. They think that I'm just being mean and an apostate, and they aren't getting it. I did the whole cookie dream, flood dream, bread dream after that in 2025 last year. And still stubborn, and then he died at 10:01 p.m. On the very day that I called it, the 27th of September 2025, which, yep, sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood. Bye-bye. Should have listened to me. You didn't. You're gone. Mormons don't get it. They know that it's the latter days, and the latter days of the latter days. They know that Jesus is coming, and that's what leads them astray. But they don't even believe that Jesus is coming. They're just living their lives as normal. And if Jesus shows, great, we now prove ourselves to be true, and everybody can suck it. And yet, what do you do when you find out you're not true? Oh, no, I just have to have faith. No, you need fruit. So, they never get it. What they did to me in 2008 was because I am a translator, and they don't even claim the title. That's what that was all about. That's why they were attacking me, trying to destroy me, steal from me, ruin me. And I filed a petition for a redress of grievances in the state of Utah to have them stop. Just leave me alone, my God. And they won't do it. And they turned it into a terrorist threat, and my petition was a weapon of mass destruction. They had no intention of taking me to court. I was never going to see a day in court. It was all a sham to justify having me disappeared in a black site for 6 years of my life, to torture me unto death. I was never supposed to get out. Oops. When did I get out? Oh, right before the latter days of 11 years in 2014, when Monson said, "These are not the latter days." Chad Daybell is wrong. He was wrong, but not about the latter days. So I had to step in and fix the guy who did the Tetrad book. There's more to it. More to it. It's about Mormons, not the Jews. In case you hadn't caught on, nobody else fits this. Only the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it doesn't mean that they're true. It means they're false. They're the dragon. They're not the good guys. You can't just put whoever you want to be the fulfillment. Because when you run the test, oops, that didn't work. You can't change what the ancients knew about the likeness of things on the earth for the celestial bodies. That's why I show you. Mars is at the top of the scales of judgment when Monson is dead, at 10:01 p.m. That means Nelson, because Brigham Young made the change, is now the head of the church. He's now Jesus. And yet, he was talking about Trump, not Oaks. Oaks, however, is saying it's him. And that's how I knew about my 36434, because the church put it in as, oh, this is evidence that he's a terrorist. Let me read it for you. The following notes received at the office of the First Presidency. First or 2nd of January 1998. Hebrew connections to Egypt. This is their filing, it's not me. They don't even know what they're doing. March 16th, 1998. Wonders how they didn't have a Paleo Hebrew font text, so it's X and 7. Connects to Joseph Smith translation of Genesis chapter 1 verse 1. No, King Follett's sermon, you dumbass. 9th of July, 1998, biblical translations of names of deity. And December, 9th of December, I'm assuming, 9th of December, 1999, year after, huh? The retranslated Genesis in Paleo Hebrew. And I'm the big bad mean terrorist, huh? Attacking the church as a terrorist, huh? Brought to the attention of the First Presidency. Received at the office of the First Presidency. Monson knows. And his counselors knew. And so did all the 12, because they all have to agree to payments by this church. I have the financial receipt. And so all of them ordered under Monson and paid by signing the Judas price to have me disappeared, erased, and murdered, so that nobody ever knows who I am. Now, do you understand why they're doing to me what they're doing to me this latter days? It isn't about me being an anti-Mormon who's lying, so they attack me. Because there are lots of other anti-Mormons that they leave alone. They collect their stuff and put them into their files, but they leave them alone. Alyssa Grenfell, for example. They leave her alone. She's a million viewer on TikTok and occasionally on YouTube. The church leaves her alone. It's just me that they are going to all this effort to destroy. Because in case you missed it, I'm a seer, I'm a prophet, I'm a revelator, I'm a translator. I have the keys of the man like Moses. All you had to do was run the test. Just like you're supposed to do with these knuckleheads. And so, the big anniversary this weekend, Saturday night, into Sunday, is the quadrantid meteor showers. And so, the full moon, wolf moon, is with the other brother. The one who dies. With the remnant of the Geminids still there. No longer at their peak. That was last month, wasn't it? Or was it? I don't think it was November. Anyway, that was other videos. And there's Jupiter. It's the same guy, been the same guy the whole latter days. Ever since his birth on the 23rd of September 2017, to start his ministry among Mormons in Utah. If you were to run the spirit test to understand. I now have Trial Faith running the test now. We'll see how he does. There's a language barrier. And so there's the quadrantid meteor showers at the tail of Draco the Dragon. So we don't know. We have to wait and see. Because this is the exception if it were to be Oakes's death. Because this is not the time for the curse of Joseph Smith. The reason why is it's in here somewhere, right? Uh-oh. Where are you? Where can you be? I wrote it down, that's why. 17th of February is a solar eclipse. So 1 month before. That's my designation. There has to be a justifiable excuse if it's going to not fit within the 1 month before and the 1 month after, whichever comes first and whichever comes last. And so, the solar eclipse happens first this year on the 17th of February. So, not the same with Monson when he died. And so 17 days. January has 31. And so we're looking for 13 days. So, God, I didn't do math. 31, 13 is the 18th. Yeah, I should have known that. That was an easy gimme. The 18th of January is when the curse of Joseph Smith starts up again for Oakes. Like I said, if he can die any time now before the 3rd and 4th, obviously. And if it's at 10:01 p.m., oh my God, this church and Mormons will never hear the end of it from me. Never. But this is why it's an exemption to the curse of Joseph Smith, because of the significance of the day in the latter days. For Oakes, as the president of the church, to die on the same quadrantid meteor showers that is in Revelation chapter 12, verse 4, is huge, and that counts. But if he can escape, he has until the 18th to fit the curse of Joseph Smith. But there's also some other issues. And so, yeah, the 3rd of March is the other one. And so 30 days. Oh, we're in Passover in April. The start of Passover. So, like I already told you for Hanukkah, now applies as the exception for the after effect. He's got until the end of Passover, 18th of January to the end of Passover in April 2026. The 8th, I believe. So the 9th. If he can make it to the 9th, he wins. He has beat the Reaper. He has avoided his final destination. It's just unbelievable. I get that on DVD, convert it, watch it, and then boom, church news. The guy in Adam on Diamond who mows the lawn gets eaten up and murdered by the lawnmower. Oh my God. You can't make this stuff up. This is weird. And so, yes, the other thing that's involved to finish us off for what's heading towards 2 hours. This isn't about Marcus. Is also part of Elijah versus the priests of Baal. On the day of the lightning from heaven striking the altar of Utah that was doused in water. As today we've got rain. Here comes the flood! Monson, here comes the flood! And you need to understand, this is also by Joseph Smith. And you all know it, even though you may not know you know it. After the one mighty and strong, verse 8, for the president of the great and abominable church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. While that man who was called of God and appointed, that putteth forth his hand to steady the ark of God. No, Monson, not the Syracuse temple. Shall fall by the shaft of death. Like as a tree that is smitten by the vivid shaft of Jupiter, the lightning symbol. They never learn. Never. Never, never, never. And so Yah Peter, Eli, Yah, the God Yah, Yah Peter, Jupiter, Elijah, same. Lightning, hello. So yes, because of what they did to me in 2008, the spiritual transfer of authority took place. And I had my Hinckley dream 8 days later, with 77 and 88. And And from that moment on, my mind was flooded with how to design, build, and run Zion for the millennium. I get out, and in 2016, I have a dream. I really wish I knew the day when I had that dream. I don't know if it's in any of the videos that I did. I hope so. I would really like to know that date. I was in a tent. So in case you don't know about Jewish holy days and the house of Israel that shares the tent holiday, on the 15th day of their months, so a 7 and an 8, 2 sets of 7 and 8. Seen a pattern? I did. I have Monson's boots. So I get out of my tent, I go and look for Monson, and I see him with his bodyguards packing heat, and I call out, "Hey, you want your boots?" Keeps on going. Boots are mine. Transfer of authority. He would then die soon thereafter. If this is around the 27th of September, even if it was the 28th of September, this would be wild. But it would have to be the 2017 one. Because otherwise it would be 2027 for Oaks. But still, the fun we had. Nonetheless, going to 9/11, 2024. Yeah. Elijah versus the priest of Baal. 9th of Av was the waters flooding the altar of Utah. And then 9/11 for the lightning bolt. And Irene is transferring authority to me. Not Nelson, not Oaks, not Holland. Irene. And the number 15 was spoken twice. 2 sets of 7 and 8. You did listen to this, right? 15th day of the moon. And then on the 30th of October at 12:45 p.m., I had a dream. And it was on the 8th Jewish day of the 8th Jewish month. As Utah Exodus. That's not the revised one that I made, is it? No, it's not. That was the original one. Gotta find where the revised one is. Because I was thinking, oh, okay, well, we got a date match, and it came and went. Nonetheless, so we've got Holland is now dead. Nelson is now dead. Only Oaks is left. Iron is next. Seeing what I'm saying? And so Passover also starts on the 15th. Just in case you wanted to know. Just in case. And yeah, Purim for the lunar eclipse also takes place with the 15th, even though it's the 3rd. But Purim is part of the 15th this year. So yeah, I see what's going on. I see what's coming. I have to wait and figure out when. So there's options to choose from. I'm so excited, and I just can't fight it. That's not the theme song either. So, yep, in the coming day, we'll see. We shall see. You don't want to miss, and they do. They just don't believe, and they don't get it every single time. Every single time. Oh, this is the revised one, isn't it? Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's the revised one. Oops. So I need to delete that other one, so I don't have that problem anymore. Okay, gone. It's already in the archives. I need to do a purging of my files anyway. But that's just a picture. That's nothing in file size.